Hello, everyone. Dr. Victoria Skirbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. So we're going to look at the last week of February. That's going to be February 20th to and through February 28th. There's actually not a lot going on, but there are some big things that are happening that I want to discuss. The first thing I want to do is take a look at just generally the week. On the 20th, we start the week with the moon in Libra. It does shift into Scorpio about 4:19 a.m. on the east coast of the US on Monday, the 21st. So it doesn't spend much time in Libra. The moon is in Scorpio the 21st and the 22nd. On the 23rd, it shifts into Sagittarius at 8:29 a.m. Hold on one second. Sorry about this. Camera problems. I guess it doesn't matter if you see me or not, right? It doesn't really matter. It's just annoying to me. Okay, let's try again. See if I can use my face for this. Sorry about this, guys. Probably shouldn't be using my face for nothing. There we go. All right, don't move. Anywho, I'm not gonna move. All right, so we have that intensity of the Scorpio moon as we start the week, the actual work week. And we're coming off a pretty intense week with the full moon and the sun moving into Pisces, the conjunction of Venus and Mars. That full moon was just, and it was activating the eclipse point from 2017 all the way back then. The eclipse that cut the United States in half, that one, yeah. So it was highly intensive. The sun was on the United States Sibley moon, and of course the full moon was square its own nodes. So that always brings it always brings us to a crossroads and a highly emotional time, because everything is the moon, the north node, the south node of the moon, and then the sun. So it was very emotional time last week. So Sunday, the 20th, we have the first Pluto return for the US. I've done a number of videos on that. One was a card reading. Another one was actually looking at the Pluto return. We'll look at it again today, even though it's not really what's happening in the heavens so much as what's happening right in front of us. The moon moves into Sagittarius, is there until Friday, goes into Capricorn, and then on the 27th, which is Sunday, it goes into Aquarius and ends the month in Aquarius, which is interesting because it started the month in Aquarius. The first day of the year, the first day of the month, we had that new moon in Aquarius, and at the end of the month, we were back in that Aquarius moon, preparing for the new moon on the second or third. I think it's the 2nd of March, the Pisces new moon, 2nd. Okay, so the thing about these positions of the moon this week is that they're in signs associated with our ability to interact with others. They're not very personal. Libra, of course, is the first sign where we actually realize there's another person in the room. Scorpio is that deep, passionate, get down to the bottom line kind of energy. Sagittarius is much more philosophical, the search for meaning. Capricorn, sort of the building of the social order, as it were. And then Aquarius being the humanitarian sign and the sign of out-of-the-box thinking. So there's this, we sort of started the month with this collective energy, and we're sort of ending up the month with the collective energy. So let's take a look at the couple of things that are happening this week. So let me share my screen here. Okay. So let's get started here. Oh, here we go. All right. Let's start the slideshow here. Okay, so we're looking at the astrology of the 4.5, 4.2, I don't know. Do you hear the bird saying hello? Okay, I forgot to close the door. You might hear that a couple times. My husband's making dinner. Whenever my husband makes dinner, the bird has a lot to say because he always gets a treat. Okay, anyway, Year of the Tiger. So, not Year of the Macaw, although don't tell my macaw that. Let's take a look. So, the first thing I want to talk about is Sunday, the 20th, 2022, which is the first of the 3 Pluto returns that are going to happen on the US chart. That day vibrates to a 28, 1, or if we take the 28 and we reduce it, we get the 10 and then we get the 1. So it depends on the type of numerology that you use, but I think it's important to include all of these. The 2 tarot cards associated with this vibration is the 2 of Wands and the Wheel of Fortune. The 2 of Wands is the guy standing there with the world in his hand and looking out over the ocean. It indicates commerce, it indicates communication, it indicates wanting to reach out to others, to foreign shores, to perhaps things that we're not used to. It's a relational energy. Even though it's a 1 vibration, ultimately it's a relational energy in that it's the 2 of Wands. And so we have the 2 of Wands, and then we have the 10-1, which is the Wheel of Fortune. The most positive way that I would say how to reach out to others, but in a different way, right? In a different way. It's like the tables are turned with this. And so I'm not exactly sure what that's going to mean for the US, but that energy is very possible. You know, we're used to being, you know, just going around the world, you know, since the collapse of the Soviet Union, just going around the world, starting wars, doing stuff, whatever we feel needs to be done, whether we feel righteous in it or if it's a lie, like Iraq was. We can no really longer do that, nor should we. And there needs to be more of a balance of power. And I think that this may be part of that scenario. Now, what that's going to mean and what's going to happen, I don't know. And I'm doing this on Friday, what's today? Friday the 18th. And so I don't know what has happened in the Soviet Union and the Ukraine. But it's very interesting that this has come up at this time. And really, this is part of what I think it is it's part of when the USSR collapsed. And then a lot of the countries in the USSR joined NATO to protect themselves from Russia. Now things, you know, countries like Poland, right? Now we come to a full Saturn cycle from that. And, you know, Saturn coming back is, you know, reestablishing the boundaries. And to a certain extent, I think that is what's happening right now. As to whether that's going to bring warfare, I don't know. They seem to think it will. You know, it's very possible. I don't know. Let's talk about this. So the first of 3 exact conjunctions to the US natal Pluto. There's one in July 11th, and one in December 28th. So this whole year really for the US is their sort of elongated Pluto return. However, we've been going through this Pluto return for a while because it doesn't just happen when Pluto is on Pluto, but it happens up to 10 to 15 degrees before Pluto reaches Pluto. And so we're talking about years. We're talking about 2000, right? 2011, 2010, 11. So we've been going through that process now for a decade and a little more. Okay, so just to know that it's not just now, that this is, Pluto is very slow, and Pluto does deal with the past. And so it brings up the past for us to heal it, really. And with the South Node in Scorpio, hopefully release some of the things that no longer serve our evolution, and surrender our egos to a certain extent, so that we can move forward on what really matters. Survival, really. The US Pluto is at 28 degrees of Capricorn. And I just thought I'd go over the Sabian symbol for that, a large aviary. It says birds symbolize spiritual forces, and the aviary presents us with a picture of these forces or desires contained within an open mind to the light of psychic or soul realities, and bringing joy and harmony to the consciousness. I quite frankly see this as a call to utilize our high spiritual facilities to bring about harmony, joy and harmony. Do what you love and love what you do. I know they're talking about it. I know everybody wants to know what's happening. I think we need to focus. If you want to see peace, then you need to focus on peace in your own heart. See the world a peaceful place. Visualize the world a peaceful place. And we have a much better chance of things not going in the direction of war. But we're constantly at war. So perhaps we need to look at the reasons behind this and look at the whole history of what's going on here, to understand and to not be forced into conflicts just because the military industrial complex is going to make money on it. And Pluto in Capricorn is the military industrial complex. So, in fact, when Eisenhower warned against the military industrial complex, I believe the sun was conjunct the United States Pluto on that day. You can check it out. I did. So here's the Pluto return, the first one. It gives us a Gemini rising. It's occurring at, oh goodness, I can't read it, 9. Looks like, actually, I can't read it. It's off the page for me. So in the morning, because I can see AM. And we can see here Pluto. And along with Pluto, now for this one, for this return, for the US, for Washington, D.C., Pluto falls in the 8th house here, the 8th house, along with Venus and Mars. Venus and Mars are moving together. They're very close. They just, previous to this, had a conjunction at 17 degrees of Capricorn. They are going to move together. Then they're going to, we'll see this week, they're going to trine Neptune. And then they go into their conjunctions with Pluto. That's going to happen in March. And then once they're past Pluto, they're going to conjunct in Aquarius at the 1st degree of Aquarius, which is the same degree that Saturn and Jupiter conjuncted at the end of 2020, starting for what most people or many people are saying is the Aquarian age. Of course, the Aquarian, we don't really know when the Aquarian age starts because the cycles that we're dealing with are so large. We're talking about thousands of years. So it's hard to sort of pinpoint a particular time, a particular moment. If we look at the chart on the right, this is the United States chart, the original 1776 chart, Sibley chart, and we can see we have Pluto on Pluto. You also have to notice that we have Mercury in Aquarius right on the south node of the United States. And so this is information and it could be trauma, but there's a voice from the past here, a voice from the past coming in. We have the sun in Pisces conjunct the moon. The moon is the people in a mundane chart, in a chart of a country. The fact that the sun in Pisces is there on the moon illuminates the people, but also brings out Piscean energy, which can be healing, but can also be confusing. So some people will have a healing through this process. Some people will just get more and more confused. So that's just something that I wanted to point out. I'll also point out at this time of the Pluto return, we have a Neptune opposition. The last time Neptune was opposed to itself was the Civil War. And we do have the North Node in Taurus moving through the 6th house here. The 6th house in a chart is the military. So there's a lot of money, Pluto being in a trine to that North Node, sort of being dumped into the military. So this is something that we need to be aware of. I'm not sure we can stop any of it, but the more people that are aware of it, and honestly, the people do have the power if we come together and unite. So remember that. On Wednesday, February 23rd, which is a 31-4 vibration, we have Mars sextiling Neptune. Interesting thing about the 31-4 is the 5 of Wands in the tarot. It is connected on the Tree of Life to the Sephiroth, or the emanation, connected to Mars. So we have Mars doing something on a vibrationally Mars day. And we have a sextile to Neptune. This is a 300-degree waning sextile. And this is a time, an opportunity for progressive change. It says your quest for spiritual results in acts and compassion as a way to lead by example. So this is about being compassionate to one another. The next day, Venus does the same thing because they're moving together, and we have Venus sextile Neptune. This is also a 300-degree waning sextile of progressive change. These are opportunities for us to lift all boats. And we're sort of like, we're, at least in America, we're kind of all like wrapped up in this Russia thing. It's as if there's an energy going towards the military that would be better served going toward the people and improving the lives of Americans, instead of dumping all this money, making the world a more dangerous place. So a thought to ponder. Inspire creativity also makes this a good time for dance, music, and other forms of beautiful creative expression like painting and sculpture. Venus and Neptune, Neptune is the higher octave of Venus, so they have a resonance with each other. Venus, the planet of love; Neptune, the planet of compassion. Love brought to its highest, most inclusive, and most collective form, the energy of compassion. So while we are having this very intense standoff of energy with Pluto return and last week's sun, full moon squaring its own nodes, activating that eclipse from 2017, really, really intense energies. And we have this beautiful sextile to Neptune, which is an opportunity for healing. We have an opportunity to do some really profound healing, to have compassion, to spread love, to do good deeds, to be kind. These are the things that we need to concentrate on, not the other stuff. Let the power brokers do their power thing. If you disagree with it and you want to put energy towards it, you want to put energy towards visualizing. If you want to protest, you can protest. That's fine, but do it with love in your heart instead of anger, because what anger does is anger just sort of, there's righteous anger. It's we're not taking this anymore, but ultimately the thing that heals is love. The thing that heals is love. Okay. On Thursday, the 24th, which is the same day as the sextile to Venus, we have Mercury making a last quarter square to Uranus. This is part of the synodic cycle that began back on the 24th of April in 2021. At 11 degrees of Taurus, these two planets came together. There's a resonance with Mercury and Uranus, just like there's a resonance with Venus and Neptune, in that Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. And so we're dealing with the lower mind. We're dealing with our individuated consciousness, unconscious. So Uranus holds within it our future possibilities, our past lives, the past of this life. It opens those things up. And when it's in a square, when we're dealing with issues of crisis, which square always brings to the party, so to speak, it's a crisis in the way we think. It's about changing your mind about something. And it sort of goes in alignment with everything I've been just talking about. I mean, that's how I see it, but it can mean anything. It doesn't have to mean that for you. Where in your life are you questioning what everybody else is saying, or what authority says? Or can you stand up for yourself? Can you be responsible for yourself? Well, bucking authority simply doesn't mean not doing what authority says, but being responsible enough to take the authority upon yourself to be a good citizen. Because the next step, the next major aspect after the square is that 300-degree sextile that both Mars and Venus just had with Neptune. Uranus will have with Mercury. That I think is happening in, I think that might be happening at the end of March, but I'm not sure. So it's a crisis in consciousness. It's about changing your mind. Time to change your mind about something. In the direction of humanitarianism, in the direction of raising all boats, in the direction of moving into a more collective realization. Okay, so that actually is it, guys. That's it. I mean, we do have moon stuff happening, but in general, that's what's happening for the week. So this isn't as long as the last one, which was like super long, but there was a lot happening last week, even though there were less days, more happening. This time, more days, a little less happening, but you know, everything's happening. Just everything's coming out. Everybody's waking up. Everybody, there's a certain amount of chaos. There's quite a bit of chaos. This is the process of awakening. Once you're awake, you have to connect with your inner compass to know which direction you're going to go in. And then there are those who will be completely confused. And for those of you who aren't, you need to lend a hand. Or even if you are completely confused, we have to come together and figure out how we're going to live in this world without destroying it or ourselves. And I've been saying this, let's see, I'm 60 years old now. I've been probably saying this for 40 years. And maybe, and I know there are people who've been saying it way longer than me, and there are people from the past who said it even before that. Maybe perhaps we'll do things with more grace and more compassion and more integrity. We can only hope. But as I said, the only thing you're in control of is you. And so if you have love, compassion, and integrity, then we're all going to benefit. Have yourself a great week and couple of days. Like and subscribe. I'm going to start my Terrascope soon. I have to there's 12 of them, and they're like all like 20 minutes long. So I usually have to like start early on those. So it's been an honor to spend February with you, and hopefully we can continue this for many many years to follow. Much love, everyone. Namaste.